It's about lunchtime. My girls are hungry from us playing outside, and I want to give them something that is good for them and yet totally has that kid food feel. So I'd like to share with you today my chicken nuggets. Chicken nuggets are a kid food staple in our house, but buying the pre-made frozen chicken nuggets, it's just not the best for them. They don't have the best ingredients and they're full of unnecessary carbs, to be honest. And while our girls don't follow a ketogenic lifestyle like Jared and I do, we do try to give them some healthier options. And so making my own chicken nuggets, freezing them and having them available at any time makes it super fast to pull together a kid-friendly lunch that's also good for them. To do this, it does take a little bit of prep ahead and just, you know, some freezer prep, honestly. I am going to show you how I made these chicken nuggets, and then I'm gonna go ahead and get my air fryer going so that I can cook some up for the girls.
To start with, I'm going to need some defrosted chicken breasts. And I sometimes like to rinse these off and pat them dry with a paper towel. Sometimes I don't. It's just kind of whatever I'm in the mood for or whatever the chicken really dictates that's necessary. But this time around, they definitely needed to be patted dry. The size you cut your chicken is really a personal preference. We like chicken nugget size that I equate to, I don't know, like a McDonald's sized chicken nugget. This is a super versatile recipe. You can make the chunks smaller than this and use them for, like, if you're gonna make orange chicken or General Tso's chicken, or you can make them larger into chicken strips. It's just kind of whatever your personal preference is and whatever your kids like. I'm only going to do a couple of chicken breasts right now because that's all I have in my freezer. And the next time that I go stock up on some chicken breasts, I will probably go through and make at least, I don't know, 5, maybe even 6 pounds of these into chicken nuggets, but I'll do some of them much smaller so that it makes a really good General Tso's chicken size. Now I need a breading, and for that I'm going to use pork rinds, almond flour, salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And these ratios are really just kind of eyeballed. I like to have about, I don't know, maybe 4 cups of pork rinds in my food processor. And I'm gonna start out with just about a half cup of almond meal, but you just kind of adjust to whatever makes sense to you. Like if you like the texture of it, then with more pork rinds and less almond meal or vice versa, then go ahead and do that. Also, I recommend just seasoning it to your own taste. Obviously, tasting this beforehand will let you know if it's too salty or not salty enough, but I don't generally taste things until after they're said and done. Now I'm gonna go pulse that up in my Ninja, and the texture you're looking for is definitely more like the almond meal texture as far as like how large you want that to be. And now I'm going to use one of these like disposable bread bags. I got this at Walmart in a pack of 100 that I like to keep homemade bread in, but it works really well for what I'm about to do. So I dump all my chicken in, and just like shake and bake from back in the day, I'm gonna shake it and bake it. So I like to put them all in there. I don't use an egg wash. I don't use any oil to stick this on there. I find that this works out really nicely. And these are not meant to be heavily breaded chicken nuggets. Also, you see I added some almond meal. That's because the texture wasn't quite the way I wanted it. So just those little modifications and adjustments as you're doing this, that's all it really takes. There's no true measurement here. And I don't like to dump the entire amount of coating into the bag at one time, just because anything that I don't use for this particular go around, I can seal it up, put it in my freezer, and use it for the next batch. Putting a lot of air in that bag really helps the whole mess to be able to move around more freely. So that I can freeze these, I'm going to line a cookie sheet with some parchment and sort of lay each of these out. I kind of like to give them a lot of room so none of these nuggets stick together. And as I'm going through picking up each piece, I'm just checking to make sure that it's coated to my liking. And like I said, I don't want these to be heavily breaded, because the more heavily breaded they are, the more likely I am to just have a mess in the bottom of my air fryer whenever it's time for me to cook these. All right, now that all the kids are out of the pool, I'm going to take these outside to my deep freezer. Once they're frozen solid, you can put them into a Ziploc bag and store them that way. But because I knew we were going to have these the very next day, I decided to just leave them on the pan overnight. And I'm going to be using my air fryer to cook these chicken nuggets. I'm gonna need to preheat my air fryer first. And now that everything is good to go, I'm going to spray each of my chicken nuggets with a tiny bit of olive oil spray. I just feel like this helps with the crispiness of them. And then I'm going to put them into my air fryer, flip them upside down so that I can spray the underside of each of those nuggets. Don't overcrowd these guys. They will not crisp up very well if they're overcrowded. And then I'm going to cook them at 350 for 15 minutes. You want to make sure to pull the basket out every so often before they're done cooking and give them a good shake so that they get evenly browned. And I find that with the frozen chicken nuggets, 350 for 15 minutes cooks them all the way through, but they're not quite as crispy as I would like. So I pop them back in and I bump that temperature up to 400 and my time down to 3 minutes. And that turns out perfectly. Now, if I was doing these fresh instead of frozen, 400 degrees for 7 to 8 minutes is usually perfect. My girls love these with a little bit of homemade honey mustard, which is just my homemade mayo recipe with a little bit of prepared Dijon mustard. I really appreciate you watching, and I would love for you to comment below if you try these out. Also, I'm going to leave my Instagram handle here so you can come follow along with my more daily life over there. And I'm going to leave a couple of videos here for you to check out if you want some more recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.